Hey everybody, Mike Hansen back with another Bite-Sized Tech Plus for Vintage Viewers video. I am out on beautiful Lake Natoma today in Folsom, California. You can hear the geese in the background, which is always a beautiful sound to hear. Let's listen to them for just a sec. They're having a great time. Anyway, today's topic is tech. When is it good enough and when is it done? And we're going to cover a lot of the spectrum of technological devices, technological helpers that you use all the time. And we're going to look at examples of when they're good enough and when they're just done. For the first example, let's start with the GoPro. I've been a big fan of GoPros way back. I started with the GoPro Hero 5. I went through the 6, the 7, the 8. I even made the leap from the 8 to the 9, even though they changed the battery, because there were some significant upgrades in the features, things that I wanted and needed. But this year, I think GoPro made a mistake. And they went from the Hero 12, which is what I'm filming this on, to the Hero 13. When I looked at it, there were not significant enough changes for me and my needs to upgrade. The other thing about that was they changed the form factor on the battery. So that obsoleted all the batteries I already have. I can't use the batteries that I have in the Hero 13. Now, how did this reflect on GoPro's performance this year? Well, for quarter 4 of 2024, their revenue was down by 32%. On the year, their revenue was down 20%. Coincidence? I think not. I think a lot of people just chose to not upgrade to the Hero 13 because of the factors that I mentioned previously. So in the next segment of this, we're going to talk a little bit about Windows 10 versus Windows 11 and what that's all about, the upgrade or update to that. So stay tuned for the next segment. Microsoft introduced Windows 10 on July 29, 2015, and in recent months they've indicated that they will discontinue all support for the Windows 10 platform as of October 14th of 2025. What does that actually mean? It means no more internal security patches, no more software compatibility updates, no more framework or architecture updates for Windows 10. This is all in favor of Windows 11 updates. Windows 11 is a substantial upgrade from Windows 10. So a lot of the features in that just can't be run under Windows 10, which is the reason for the operating system update. Now, how do you find out if your system will actually handle the update to Windows 11? Well, go to your system settings, go to updates, go to the line that talks about Windows 11. When you do that, it will prompt you to download System Health Check. Once you actually run System Health Check on your machine, it'll tell you immediately whether or not you can update your machine. If it says okie dokie, good for you. Follow the instructions and update your machine to Windows 11. If you get the screens that I get here, you're kinda left with a couple of choices. And those choices are, you can operate your Windows 10 system for quite some time, and it may or may not be effective or run for you. But as you go into the future, there could be some cascading software failures that you will experience as software developers start to move forward with Windows 11 products. When they do that, the software that you have now may not update properly. If that occurs, and it will occur without warning, you may not be able to do the work that you do on a daily basis on your old Windows 10 system. So the thing that you're left with is the choice to upgrade your machine to a machine that is actually running Windows 11. The good news is there are a lot of Windows 11 machines out there right now with a pretty reasonable price tag, depending on whether or not you're going with a desktop or a laptop. In my particular case, I'm primarily an iOS Apple user, so I won't be updating my Windows machine because the only reason that I kept my Windows machine up is to support my friends who run Windows who often need support from me. So I won't be updating. But personal choice for you. If you want to continue to run Windows, I really would recommend that you upgrade your machine. So let's talk about cell phone upgrades. I still have my trusty iPhone X and it works perfectly. So if I were thinking about an upgrade, there's a couple of questions that I would want to ask myself. One, does everything on my phone still work? Yes. Can I make calls, receive calls, voicemail is fine? Yes. Have I come anywhere close to filling out the capacity of the memory in the phone? No, not by half. So for me, I don't know why I might upgrade a phone, but for others, one of the main reasons to upgrade your phone is the current generation of cameras that are included in mobile phones today. They are outstanding. So if you're not like me, and I use dedicated cameras for the most of my photo and video work, I don't use my cell phone very often for that kind of stuff. I think that might be a good thing because you can get some pictures on the new generation of cell phones that are out there, both Android and iPhones, that are absolutely fantastic phones as far as the camera is concerned. But you know, if all you want is function in your phone and you can answer those questions that I just asked in that way, why upgrade? I'm not going to be upgrading anytime soon, that's for sure. Let's talk about iMac upgrades. I bought my first iMac in 2017. It was a 27-inch Retina display, Intel i7 processor, onboard SSD. I have never owned a computer that performed at that level. Unfortunately, toward the end of 2024, some of the programs that I use, particularly my video editing software and my photo editing software, were starting to slow down. And everything that I could do to keep the performance of my iMac at its peak, I did. But ultimately, I ran out of room. So I had to go shopping for the new iMacs. What I was amazed at was the M4 processor that Apple has put in these newest machines is a hot rod. I mean, I have never seen a computer that has performed at this level before. I can do all of my video editing. I don't wait around for rendering. I don't wait around for anything. Now, the cool thing about this is I purchased it at the beginning of the year, this year, 2025, and I put it on a no interest payment program. So I will have that paid off toward the end of 2025, which is cool. It only has a 24-inch display, but I was okay with that based on the trade-off for the performance. I do have a dual monitor setup now, which took about, I don't know, 5 minutes to get used to all of that. The performance of this machine is absolutely unparalleled. So, did I upgrade my iMac? You bet. DJI, the largest manufacturer of small unmanned aircraft systems in the world, you might know them as drones, introduced the Mavic 2 Zoom in August of 2018, which was about the time I purchased my Mavic 2 Zoom. And I purchased it for about $1,500. That was in what they call the Fly More package. It included additional batteries, a travel bag, some other accessories, so on and so forth. It has served me well. I purchased it originally for real estate photography, for general landscape photography and videography, and for disaster recovery photography and videography. I recently had an opportunity to photograph and video the McConnell Foundation Center in Redding, California, and I'll put some B-roll footage of that so you can see the quality that this aircraft puts out. Now Mavic for DJI is now up to the Mavic 3 Pro. That is selling in a Fly More package for just under $4,000. So that's a little bit more than what I paid. Now, what does it have? It has a better camera than mine, and it also has a longer, further distance rating than mine. But as an FAA Part 107 certified pilot, I cannot fly my aircraft outside of a visual line of sight. So that additional distance does really nothing for me. So at this particular point in time, am I thinking of upgrading? I don't think so. So what's the actual bottom line on tech? Is it good enough or is it done? Well, some lessons from my mom and dad. Mom and Dad won a toaster in 1954, a beautiful Sunbeam chrome toaster. They used that forever, and Dad continued to repair and restore that toaster pretty much for the rest of his life. As a matter of fact, after my dad passed away, I received a package for him that was a new heating element for that toaster. So that toaster had been in use pretty steadily from 1954 until 2017, or shortly before 2017. But our parents had a different idea of how things were supposed to go. They believed that things should last. They believed that you should get every utility out of them that you possibly can. Unfortunately, our generation has been trained differently. In a world of consumerism run wild, we have been trained that the next big thing is the thing we need to have. And the effect that tends to have on us is that we chase after the next greatest thing, whether it's that much better or that much more to our utility or that much more functional for us. It's almost like we don't care. We buy the headlines, we buy the bylines, we buy all of the hype about something like that. And a lot of times we come through it a little bit disappointed. Well, I used to do that as a much younger man. I used to chase the technology. I had to have the latest, greatest thing. But now, I'm filming this right now on a camera that came out almost 12 years ago. My second camera, when I film, I am filming on a camera that came out about 9 years ago. So the bottom line here is, if I had a brand new camera, would it give me better footage? I don't really think so. So I have learned in my maturity to utilize the items that I have as long as they maintain their functionality for me. Now there's this wonderful thing that's called built-in obsolescence, and sometimes we get trounced by that and we have to buy that next thing, like in the case of Windows 11 that you saw earlier in the video. But for the most part, we don't have to do that. So this is all going to come down to personal choice. If you like to have the latest and greatest thing, oh man, that's fine. And as long as you're economically able to do it, why not? But if your things are still functional, still practical for you, maybe it will give you pause and maybe it will give you second thoughts about whether or not you should upgrade. I'm just saying, don't let yourself be pushed by consumerism to upgrade when it may not be necessary. I certainly don't. So everybody have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.